Hello viewers, Atheist Fat Cat here, and I'm making this video to tell you all about this 16-year-old kid from Texas by the name of Ethan Couch. And this kid is from a very privileged and very wealthy family. And apparently he gets anything and everything he's ever wanted all the time. And one day, he and his buddies went to Walmart, stole a bunch of beer, got drunk as shit, jumped in his pickup, and decided to go down the road at 70 miles per hour in a 40 mile per hour zone. He also had a blood alcohol level of 0.24, which is 3 times the legal limit, provided that he's 21, which he's not. And so obviously he just smashed right the fuck into some other cars, killing 4 people. Now, one of those cars pulled over to change a tire, and a couple other people pulled over to help out. Good Samaritans. Well, they're dead, because this 16-year-old drunk the fuck off his ass decided to jump in his car and drive around like a fucking maniac. That's why they're dead. Now, he has pleaded guilty to this, and the prosecutioners were asking for 20 years in prison. So how much time do you think he's going to get in prison? 0. He will not serve a single day in prison. For killing 4 people in a drunken haze, he will not serve 1 day in prison. And how did that happen, right? I mean, if he was anyone else, you would assume they would do at least some time in prison. So how does he not do any time in prison? Well, his attorneys made the case that this poor rich kid was suffering from affluenza. Now, if you don't know what affluenza is, that's okay, I'll tell you. Affluenza is completely made up bullshit pulled directly from someone's ass. Now, his attorneys made the argument that affluenza was actually a condition brought on by someone living in an environment where they get anything and everything they've ever wanted all the time. And they're never expected to pay for the consequences of their actions. They're basically a parasite on humanity. They just take, greed, me, everything's me, I don't have to pay for nothing, I just take. Being the spoiled rich brat taken to the most far and extreme absurdities. Then you develop this consciousness where you don't have morals, and you don't understand the concept of right and wrong. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. Or else his ass would have been locked up a long fucking time ago, because you just act on impulse. So what was his sentence? Well, he got 10 years of probation. 10 years of probation. Let's see what his lawyer has to say about this.
There's nothing the judge could have done that's going to lessen the suffering for any of those families.
That's bullshit. I mean, isn't it? Just ask the parents. I'm sure they'll disagree. And think about that. Someone comes along and kills your family, and you're just like, well, I mean, even if they're caught or not, or thrown in jail or acquitted, I mean, it's not going to make me feel any better at all. Knowing that the person who committed this crime is behind bars, knowing that justice was served, that's not going to make me feel better at all. Oh, wait, here he is saying the exact opposite.
And unfortunately, the wounds that it opened only makes the healing process that much greater and much more difficult. Money always seems to keep Ethan out of trouble. This was one time I did ask the court that for justice and that for money not to prevail. And ultimately today I felt like money did prevail.
So what is the judge going to do about it? Well, she totally buys into the affluenza thing. She thinks it's a real thing and he's suffering from it. So, to fix affluenza, she's going to give him 10 years of probation. Ironically, if affluenza was an actual thing, I personally have discovered the cure for affluenza. You throw his ass in jail. You immediately show that there are consequences for your actions. That's the cure for affluenza. You put him in jail. You kill people, you go to jail. Look at that. There's consequences to your actions. Wow, the cure for affluenza. And what do they do instead? The exact opposite. They give him 10 years of probation. He killed 4 people, and 2 others are really fucked up. And he gets 10 years of probation. How many people would he have to kill before he'd see 1 day in prison? 5 people, 6 people, 10 people? I mean, what if he crashed into a school bus full of kids, the damn thing blew up and killed everyone on board? Would he go to prison then? I don't know. I mean, he is suffering from affluenza, so naturally he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. So why would we lock him up? We gotta help him, man. That's what we gotta do, is help him. Make sure he never goes to prison. Now, one of the things I take away from this story is that there's clearly a two-justice system in this country. One for the wealthy and one for everyone else. And look, if I drank a shitload of vodka, got drunk off my ass, jumped in my car right afterwards, and killed a bunch of people, I would go to prison. Everyone would go to... Anyone who does this would go to prison. We all know this. But he didn't go to prison. Because he's rich as shit. So if you're a person who never sees consequences from your actions, and then you kill 4 people in a drunken haze, and some judge just slaps you on the wrist, and you're like, alright, whatever. Well then, obviously, you're not learning the goddamn thing. And it would be a great injustice to not put him in jail. We gotta think about justice, right? There's the rule of law, there's justice. Can we apply those things? Now, Ethan will receive treatment at a high-end rehab facility in California. It costs $450,000. But all that money goes somewhere. It goes into comfort. It goes into making the place nice and enjoyable and relaxing. And that's his punishment. Relaxing.
And if Ethan doesn't do what he's supposed to do, if he has one misstep at all, then this judge or an adult judge, when he's transferred, can then incarcerate him.
Oh man. I mean, if Ethan kills just one more person, whew, they're really going to lay the hammer down then. But for now, 4 dead people and 2 critically injured, well, I mean, come on, he can't go to jail for that. Now, what about this? Let's say you're poor as hell, and your parents are working all the time just to barely make ends meet. So they have almost no time to be around and parent you. Does that mean that you are above the law? That you can go out and kind of do whatever you want because you weren't ever parented, so you never got those skills to know the difference between right and wrong? I would say no. Now, what I took away from the story wasn't so much about the parasite couch kid, but more about our broken justice system. It's really fucked up. Apparently, as long as you're rich as shit and you say, hey, look, I'm rich as shit, I get everything I want all the time, so obviously I don't have a moral system, therefore I'm essentially above the law. So you just need to slap my wrist like no big deal whenever I kill people. That's the true injustice. Because when's this shit gonna happen again?
Taking him away from his family and teaching him to be a responsible citizen, that's a consequence.